Right, Barry, thanks for joining us. As you know, the fans have been on Twitter with their Ask Bazza questions. You ready to go?
Let's tear them to bits, mate. No holds barred.
Right, first one, Nigel Lovell. In 07-08, great start, top of the league, top 7 until Christmas. We didn't invest, finished 14th. Will you invest this time?
We can only invest up to the 60% level, and we will have those funds available, which is our big job at the moment, to push commercial income so that we can give Russell the funds. But we are limited by the rules. We understand the rules, and we'll keep with the rules.
Simon Bernstein, do you realistically think we could sustain a place in the Championship with our budget?
Our budget would change dramatically if we were in the Championship. We'd get an extra £4 million of TV income, and 60% of that means we've got an extra £2.5 million to spend on wages. We still wouldn't be the biggest spender in the league, but it's about good management, not just about wasting money.
Joe Daniel, does Boris have an actual clue, or is he the massive Egypt many suspect him to be?
The latter, not the former. I wouldn't let that man run a newsagent, let alone London.
One from Andy, Orient Meat Pie. He says, what's your end game at Orient? You wanted out a few years ago, but suitable buyers weren't forthcoming. How are things now?
I would go tomorrow if the right buyer came in that could take the club beyond the limit of which I could take the club. I'd never let the club down. I'd never leave them in the mess that I inherited. But at the same time, I'm realistic to know the limit of my ambitions and what I'm prepared to put in. So if someone came on with a better package than Barry Hearn can offer, I, as a Leyton Orient supporter, would welcome them, and I'd be out in a flash. But no signs of it happening, so you're stuck with me, I'm afraid.
Pavo Ribberich, are you in danger of mixing your personal desire to win with the cold reality of the Olympic Stadium situation and so doing bad business?
Probably, but it's my money, and I'll do whatever bad business I like. I feel the whole Olympic legacy is a joke, that we haven't had any support from anybody, and everyone's bending over backwards to help Premier League clubs, whether they be Tottenham or West Ham. With their hundreds of millions of pounds of income, they still expect to be looked after and get fantastic deals. I don't blame them for that. All I'm saying is, what about us? And common sense says that we should benefit from the Olympic legacy as well, and we're not. In fact, reverse is true. So, am I wasting my time? Probably. Am I spending too much money? Definitely. Am I going to lose? Maybe. And you know what? I don't care. It's my money, it's my time, and I'll do what I like. And if I feel wronged, I won't walk away.
Matt Simpson says, you said no holds barred, but you won't answer this. How many more games did Slade have before you would have sacked him in October 2012?
He had at least a full season. At least a full season. And I'm happy. I said no holds barred. These clubs that get rid of their managers on a knee-jerk reaction should be sacking themselves, not the manager. They have no idea how to run a proper business. When you've got good management that you trust, you have to stay with them and you have to give them all your support. And that goes not just for chairman, that goes for the fans as well, because most of the problems that managers have are with the fans, not with the chairman. We have to stand up and say no. Right is right, we support our manager, and in Russell Slade, we trust.
Caroline Birkinshaw, I'd be very keen to see an electronic scoreboard installed at the ground. Are there any plans to have one, please?
I'd love an electronic clock and everything. As soon as I find a sponsor for it, because if I spend money on that, it doesn't be available for the club. So, whichever way you want to go. I think if we got a sponsor for it, we'd have it up instantly. So any ideas you've got on where I should go to get one of these sponsored, I'd be happy to hear from you.
Graham Nice, are there any plans to refurb the East Stand if we go up and make the stadium even more awesome?
No, there are no plans, because I can't get my head around how financially it works. If I could get a lot more demand for seats, then that could help to justify it. It's something we're always looking at, but at this moment in time, we're concentrating on the football side rather than the accommodation side. East Stand is a problem. We will have to deal with it one day, and I'm not sure of the way forward.
Adam Parks says, would Leyton Orient being promoted to the Championship be one of your greatest sporting moments?
Yes, without question. I mean, actually, it might even be the great sporting moment, because in most of my accomplishments in the field of sport, I felt I've had a chance, and I don't think we've got any chance. So this would be a massive, massive move for Leyton Orient, and as such, the best legacy I could ever be involved in with a football club.
Colin Rumbles, Barry, just wondering what qualifications you got at school.
I wasn't a great student at school. 5 O levels, all bad grades. 2 A levels, history and economics. But then, of course, I found the way forward, started working, became the youngest ever, or one of the youngest ever chartered accountants, and certainly I think the youngest ever fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants. So, despite a slow start, I finished strong, like a good racehorse.
Martin Hopkins, best player you've seen in an Orient shirt.
Ooh, that's a tough one. So many good players. I mean, at the moment I'd have to say Kevin Lisby, but that's probably because he's doing so well. Looking back, Matty Lockwood, one of my favourite all-time players. John Mackey, for the heart and spirit he brought. Lots of good players for different reasons. So, but that's a beginner. I hope I haven't upset anybody. Zakawani I liked a lot. I like a lot of players. I mean, I like a lot of players in the current squad, so difficult to judge.
Nicholas Clark, do you read the message boards or fanzines?
Every day I read the message board at least 3 times.
Jack Baker Merry, is there a possibility of a safe standing area at Brisbane Road?
No, not at the moment. No, we have no plans.
Another one from Matt Simpson. How often do you make an appearance in the dressing room, pre or post match?
Very, very, very rarely pre-match. I think I can only remember a couple of times in my 19 years. That's not my place, that's the manager's place. Post-match quite a lot, especially when we win. Not so often when we lose, but then we don't lose so often anyway. At the moment, pretty well every game. I just go down there and just say well done to everybody.
Richmond Orient, so did the Napoli owner ever contact the club about a possible takeover?
Absolutely no contact whatsoever. I don't know where it comes from at all.
Joe Daniel again, do you ever feel you got rid of Sit and Turner too quickly after your arrival?
Certainly not. There was need for a change. I don't think dual managers ever work. Nothing critical of either of them, but it was time for fresh blood. I think it was the right move.
Len, he says, have you ever thought of hosting a darts or snooker tournament at Brisbane Road?
Yeah, I thought about darts more than snooker. I don't think snooker would work here. I think we might have a little look at a darts event one day. One of the Pro Tour events would go really well here. And I like to do more and more at Orient. Obviously it makes more sense. We've done poker tournaments and stuff like that. I think we'll have a go at a darts event next year.
Peter Ranger, how much are professional clubs at our level going to have to change to survive in the future?
Well, we're going to have to live in the real world. The 60% rule is a start, but as someone else said, we still lose £1 million a year, even applying the 60%. So we've all got to run a better business. We've got to look for more income streams. We've got to look to minimise our costs. But the biggest control is on players' wages. There's no question about that. And I think we're making some progress. And all clubs are going to have to do this. So from a field of play point of view, it's a more level playing field. We should only be judged on our ability to bring in income should determine our ability to spend it on players' wages without all these cheats that spend money with borrowed money, other people's money, and then go into administration. It's the worst case of cheating in sport I've seen since the drugs came into use.
Neil Colley, what's your biggest regret as Orient chairman?
It's difficult to say I've had any regrets really. I don't really look back on anything with a regret in my whole life. I look forward. Sometimes you learn, but you don't regret things because there's nothing you can do about it when it's happened. So I see regret as a total waste of time.
Bob Watson, what's your best away game you've been to except Oxford away?
Well, Oxford would definitely have to be the best one, wouldn't it? I think any away game you go when you win is a bit special. To lose, it has to be something extraordinary, and probably, even though we got beat 5-0 at Arsenal, the fact that we were playing at the Emirates Stadium, having had a fantastic 1-1 draw at Brisbane Road, that outside of Oxford, that would probably sit there. And also the fact that they give us over £1 million for the pleasure of getting beat 5-0. That would be up there, but nothing can go close to the Oxford game. Tim
Morris, do you know of any interest from other clubs for any of our players?
I think a lot of clubs are looking at our players. We can see the scouts that come down every week. There are more and more of them coming down, and there's more and more of them coming down from bigger clubs. I would be surprised if they weren't interested because the players are great players, and you know we're in this business to win, and that's what the boys are delivering in spades. we will get more and more interest. But at the moment, pretty well every club that comes knows that we're not interested in doing any business. Certainly not until we know where we are at the end of the season.
Tom Pearce, what was for breakfast at the cafe this morning?
Usual cholesterol overdose, 2 fried eggs, well done bacon and mushrooms, white toast, 2 cups of tea, and sets you up for the whole day.
Has our start to this campaign attracted the interest of any new investors, etc., or is it business as usual? That's from Neil Irvine.
I mean, it's business as usual. I don't think we're still not attractive to a massive overseas investor at this stage in League One. I think there is a big difference if we were a championship club. But still, you have to remember, you're asked the question of whether people are prepared to invest in a club that's going to lose money every year. Why do they do it? You know, I do it because I have an interest in the club and a background with the club. That's not the case with international investors. They're looking for either a trophy asset that can go on and win things, or they're looking to make money. And making money in football is restricted to just a handful of clubs. You have to have a passion to be involved at this level. And so far, I haven't found anyone locally who has money and passion. I've seen a lot of passion, but very little money. We call them fur coat, no knickers.
Evie Stark says, since you became chairman, which Orient player have you got on with the most?
Difficult. I think probably, again, you go back, Matty Lockwood, I got on well with him because we used to play a bit of golf together. John Mackey, I got on well with him because he's my type of bloke. I get on well with all of them, really, up to a level. I'm the chairman, they're the player, so, and I'm old and they're young, so we're not exactly drinking mates. But, you know, socially, I'll see quite a few of the boys like Sean Battle go to the boxing. Over the past few, you know, there's always been people who have different interests. Some of them like to go to the darts. But at the end of the day, I'm the wrong age group to be their mate, aren't I? Let's be perfectly honest.